In example 3, we're going to identify a function from a table. We want to determine whether the table represents a function that is linear, exponential, quadratic, or none of these, and explain how you know. So what we're looking for, remember, if it's linear, it has a common first difference, exponential has a common ratio, and quadratic has a common second difference. You need to make sure that you check everything in the table and not just the first couple, as it might look like it's one of these functions, but then in the end turned out that it's not. So let's take a look at letter A. First thing we want to look for is, can we subtract? Do we have that common first difference? So let's try that out. We do 15 minus 12 gives us 3. 12 minus 9 gives us 3. 9 minus 6 gives us 3. Since we have the 3 here, we have a common difference, and we can tell that that is linear. So our answer here we would say is linear because the table has a common first difference. Then let's take a look at letter B. So we could look to see if we subtract, if we would get what we need. So we could take 256 minus 64. And 256 minus 64 is going to give us 192. And then we would have to see, well, what's 64 minus 16? Well, 64 minus 16 is 48. Oops, this was 192. So these are not the same, which tells us it's not linear. So let's get rid of that. And let's try, the next one would be looking for an exponential function, so to divide. So we can take 256 and divide it by 64. And 256 divided by 64 is 4. Then we could take 64 and divide it by 16, which also gives us 4. And 16 divided by 4 will give us 4. So when we divided each of these terms, we got 4, which is a common ratio. So we can say that this table represents an exponential function because the table has a common ratio of 4. And actually, I'm going to go back up to example 3 here, and let's specify what that common difference is. It has a common first difference of 3. Let's be specific there. We have one more we're going to do together, which is letter C. So first thing we can try is, and you can really try anything you want. You can try to divide them first. You could try to subtract them first. There's no order that you have to go in. So if we start subtracting, we could do 16 minus 9, which gives us 7. 9 minus 4 gives us 5, and 4 minus 1 will give us 3. And as we're working through that, you should start to see that there's going to be a common second difference here. So now if I subtract 7 and 5, I get 2, and 5 minus 3 also gives me 2. So this is one that has a common second difference. So I can say that this table represents a quadratic function because the table has a common second difference of 2. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I would like you to do the try this. So you can pause it now and unpause it when you're ready to check your answer. If you did the try this correctly, you should have gotten that this represents none of the above, because there isn't a common first or second difference, indicating that it's not linear or quadratic, and there is no common ratio telling us that it is not exponential. If you have questions, let me know.